No running, see, no running.
On our journey down, there's quite a few places of interest, and as we leave the next piers,
Yeah,
I'll start
later.
a bit of a commentary, tell you about all the history and all the different places of interest as we make our way down to the tower at Greenwich. But our first stop looks like we may have to stop at Embankment Pier, which is just through Charing Cross, a railway bridge. Charing Cross station just up there to the left. If you do use the bar, you can bring your drinks up onto the top deck as well as your snacks. This is a non-smoking boat, so no, we're not stopping at Embankment, so let's save us a few minutes. What we're going to do, we're going to go and have a look at the other pier on the other side of the river at Festival. Is there any passengers there over there? Just looking down ahead of us on our left-hand side, there's a little bit of Egypt waiting to be discovered. Cleopatra's Needle, can you see it? There's two black sphinx either side of the needle. A gift from a grateful Egyptian government after Nelson's victory over Napoleon at the Battle of the River Nile. Behind Cleopatra's Needle on the left is the largest clock face in London. It's bigger than Big Ben. It's on the Shell Petrol Company's building. So we've called it Big Benzine.
Big Benzine.
To your right hand side we've got the South Bank Complex of Theatre, Arts and Music. You've got the Royal Festival Hall and the National Film Theatre all over here on the right hand side, and the weekends they have a World Food Market. Little stalls selling a selection of cuisine from across the globe. There's probably something for everybody. It looks like we may have to stop here, so please bear with us. Labour during the Second World War as the men were away fighting for king and country. When it was completed, it was the longest road bridge to span the River Thames at the time. It's the only bridge across the river that was built on time and under budget, so the ladies actually did a fantastic job. Through the bridge and to our right hand side, the large grey building is our National Theatre. Well, the Dukes and Earls have moved out now, and one of our leading universities has moved in, the King's College, so it's a place of education now. But it's still open to the public because they carry a very large art collection inside. Now, looking ahead of us, you can see the ever-changing skyline of London. Many of the new buildings, banks and insurance companies. There are buildings that have got some unusual building boundary line between the city of Westminster and the city of London. If you look there to our left, you can see the large silver dragons with the red wings either side of the road. As we pass those dragons just there to our left, we enter the 1 square mile of the city of London. And still on our left-hand side, behind the trees, the buildings of the inner and middle temples, the Inns of Court. And if you're a barrister, a lawyer or a judge, it's probably over on the left, where you may have your offices and chambers, because the High Courts of London in the Strand are in the background. Over to your right-hand side now, this red building, it's got a tower. And if you look to the tower, you'll find the name of the building. It's the Oxo building. If you don't know what Oxo is, it's a small stock cube for making casseroles and gravies. I use it myself. Underneath the glass roof, they've recently added a lovely restaurant. It's the Oxo Tower restaurant. As you can see lots of diners up there enjoying the sunshine. Rather expensive, as you can imagine, but very nice. It's from this point If you look ahead of us and slightly to our left, in the distance, you can see the large dome and cross of St Paul's Cathedral. The masterpiece of that brilliant architect, Sir Christopher Wren. It took 35 years to build and was completed in 1710. And when it was completed, it was the tallest building in the country, at 365 feet. That's 1 foot for each day of the year. And it remained there for nearly 2 centuries. Above the Black Dome, there is an observation of riverbirds. The 8th variety of riverbird inhabit the Thames. There's a different one on each marble column. The bridge was opened by Queen Victoria in Thames. The very first thing about 60 years ago, it became unsafe. The third bridge is a railway bridge. And in recent years, they've extended the station right across the bridge.
London.
Now down on our right hand side, there's an old power station, which is now an art gallery. This is the Tate Modern. If you're interested in modern art, this could be the place for you. As you can see, there's lots of people over on our right hand side. There's always something going on over at the Tate Art Gallery. Well, the bridge ahead of us is an upside down suspension bridge. It was opened in the year 2000 by the late Queen. And in the afternoon, after she opened it, the police closed it because it was swaying from side to side. The press gave it a nickname. It's the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge across the Thames. Even though they've spent money and fixed the problem, it's perfectly safe today. It's always known as the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge across the Thames. And as we go underneath this footbridge on our right, you get wet because it's open to the elements. There is a guided tour, a museum and a restaurant over on the right hand side now. It stands in the borough of Southwark, just over on the right. That used to be the entertaining part of London about 400 or 500 years ago. This is where all the theatres were. I've mentioned the Globe, also the Swan. In Western Europe, 1,016 feet high. Viewing galleries at the top. As I said, they're quite expensive, and if you don't want to spend that money, maybe you can go across to the walkie-talkie, the glass atrium, the London Sky Garden, and get those views for free. Well, as we go underneath the bridge, in the right-hand corner of the next bridge is a lovely old pub. It's called the Anchor Tavern. It's been there for over 400 years. It was behind this pub, just coming up on the right, where the original Globe Theatre stood at William Shakespeare in Park Street. There's always lots of tourists over there, discovering the history and of course enjoying the drink and the atmosphere as they watch all the boats go by. Down on our right hand side we've got a ship of British history, an old pirate ship. This is a replica of Sir Francis Drake's ship, the Golden Hind. He was the first Englishman to circumnavigate the world. It took him 3 years, from 1577 to 1580, and this replica has been around the world twice. And at the moment they're getting it ready for a third navigation around the world in a few months' time. Ahead of us is London Bridge. And there's been a bridge on this site for over 2,000 years. If you're one of these people who like to document their journey, if you look there to our left on the battlements of the bridge, you can actually see it says London Bridge on it, so you can prove to your friends you've been underneath London Bridge. As we pass beneath the bridge just there on our left hand side. It's up on our left in the gap in the building. If you look back through that gap, about 200 metres, there's a white column with a golden ball of fire, a golden shell. Next door to that was once a famous fish market called Billingsgate. The only fish to remain there now are the golden ones on the top, acting as weather vanes. And if you look across the roof there to our left, through the gap in the buildings, you can see Lloyd's of London, the shipping insurance building. It's built like the Pompidou Centre out in Paris. All the heating ducts and air vents are all on the outside of the building. That particular style never really caught on, so that's probably the only one in the City of London designed like that. Ahead of us, we've got two ships. One is London's own warship, the C-35, the HMS Belfast. She's now a museum to British sea power, 7 decks to explore from the engine room to the bridge. Alongside, on a courtesy visit, the St Helier. Looks like the way the signs are painted, looks like it's a green agenda sort of vessel. And that rather ripe smell that we can all smell at the moment is coming from those rubbish barges ahead of us. Those containers are full of London's household rubbish being taken downriver to large incinerators further down. It's the easiest way of removing the rubbish from central London. Each of these tugs, just with one engine, is moving 100 containers. So that's probably about 80 or 90 trucks off the congested streets of London.
Extreme.
Looking down on our left-hand side behind the trees, 1,000 years of British history, the Tower of London. The original part of the tower is in the middle. It's the tallest part. That's the White Tower, the Norman Keep. Building commenced there in 1078. The two towers contain a museum, and it tells you all the history and all different incidents that have taken place on the bridge over the many years. And Tower Bridge was built in a style to blend in with its neighbour, the Tower of London, there on our left. Our next major stop is Tower Butlers. Is coming up very, very shortly. For those passengers with tower tickets, singles or returns, because this vessel, after about 5 minutes, continue on down to Greenwich. So if you want to go to Greenwich, if you've got Greenwich tickets, singles or returns or day passes, stay on board. But if you've got tower tickets, singles or returns, once we're safely alongside, I'm afraid this is where you must.
Ayun naman luwain taon.
Lots of tourists enjoying the sunshine here in London. If you are leaving us here at the tower, obviously it brings me or you to the end of your journey with us. And also brings me to the end of your take it in turns, hopefully to bring a little bit of interest, a little bit of history to your journey here on the Thames. We will be off to Greenwich within the next 5 minutes or so. Thanks for listening to me. Enjoy the rest of your time here in London.
여기까지가 1분. 이거 물어봐.
We're into Docklands now. There's been a lot of redevelopment on this part of the Thames over the last 60, 70 years. At one point in history, the Port of London was the busiest port in the world. There were ships' cargoes from every corner could be found here. But due to containerisation and the size of modern day ships, and I don't point it out in the commentary, feel free to put your hand up or get my attention and I'll gladly answer your questions. If I can't tell you the truth, I'll lie to you that you won't know the difference. A young man a few weeks ago asked me how much water is there in the Thames. I said there in such a manner was Captain William Kidd in 1701. Now just down on our left hand side we've got the headquarters of the River Police. The River Police were formed 20 years before the Land Police here in London. They were formed because On the river, that's where all the wealth was. That's where all the things to steal were. 30% of cargo coming into London was stolen. So the need was there for a police force, and it was the river police first before that. He was the captain of a very famous sailing ship called the Mayflower, which set sail from here in 1620. I went round to the west coast of this country and picked up a group of pilgrim fathers and set sail for America, Cape Cod. One of those famous American stories, isn't it? The arrival of the pilgrim fathers in America. Well, the ship eventually made its way back here, and the crew and the captain, well, many of them are buried in the small church just over on our right-hand side. One of our many things from America. Now, carrying on with that theme, just past that warehouse with all the scaffolding and plastic sheeting, there is a pub. If you look to the veranda of the pub, you can see American and British flags flying. And on top of the pub, there is a weather vane, a replica of the pilgrim ship, the Mayflower. Of course, the pub is called the Mayflower. And it's quite a nice pub to visit. I went there last summer for a Sunday lunch. It was very nice.
Ah, the Mayflower.
There we go, there's the Mayflower. Through the reign of 17 different kings and queens of England for the time of King Henry VIII. So it's steeped in history. And if you go on the famous pub tour of London on the coaches, this is one of the pubs they take a piece of. At Prospect of Whitby, just over there on our left. Which is below us. It is so big that 2 double-decker buses can pass. But it's not going to be for traffic when it opens next year. It's part of the sewer upgrade for London. The Tideway Tunnel. The sewage system in London was built in the late 19th century for an estimated population of 2 million. We're up to 11 now, so let's just say it's not flushing away. So there is a pub just on the entrance to the marina. And it's owned by a very famous celebrity chef. Gordon Ramsay owns that pub just over there. So if you do go in the restaurant, don't complain about the food. He doesn't take criticism. Further down on our left complex, called Canary Wharf, it takes its name from the ships that used to arrive here from the Canary Islands, Portugal and Spain, with the cargoes of soft fruit and salad produce for the British market. But when that trade ended, this area was made derelict for quite a few years, so it's quite an easy place to do business. Some information about the River Thames, the tides. Clipper trade across the globe beneath her decks. Just behind the Cuddy Sark, a couple of minutes walk, is central Greenwich, an undercover market, restaurants and lovely old pubs. Just beyond those trees, between the Cuddy Sark, is the Maritime Museum, one of the foremost maritime museums in the world. It's free entrance for the Naval College, for the museum, so you can go in there for 5 minutes or 5 hours, that choice is up to you. So there we go, we're coming in. Please remember, if you are leaving us here, take all your personal belongings with you, hats, coats, cameras, husbands, wives, or other people's wives, who have you got with you. This is the last returning boat. And it also brings me to the end of the commentary. Thanks for listening to me. As I said earlier, commentaries on these vessels are given by your crew members. It was my turn this afternoon, hopefully to add a little bit of flavour to your journey, make it a little bit more interesting, throw in some historic information. As I said, we don't make charges for this service because many people on board haven't understood a word I've said.
In Greenwich. Greenwich Pier. Greenwich Naval Museum, no? Diyan nagsalida ang tour. Dapat huli mo dapat tadi. Kaya na ko. You leave me! Come, we go up.
Can I use your old phone now?